What's up, everybody? GeauxBurns doing a trailer breakdown for the fifth and final installment of the New Bordeaux series. Now, Tape 1 was about the districts, Tape 2 about rackets, Tape 3 weaponry, and of course, Tape 4 combat. Tape 5 is about the new Mob of New Bordeaux. So we're going to learn about Lincoln Clay's underbosses from CIA agent John Donovan in the Mafia III World of New Bordeaux finale. By the way, the trailer is linked below in the description section. And if you want to check out all the trailer breakdowns, anything, everything about Mafia 3 can be found in my Mafia info playlist. Now, I realized that this was posted yesterday, but I had a very long day yesterday because I was focused on Grand Theft Auto Online, the Bikers update, plus I had a lot of real-life stuff I had to take care of, so I never really got around to, taking care of the trailer breakdown till this morning. So let's get to it, shall we? Hopefully you guys can understand and forgive me for not getting the trailer breakdown up sooner, but real life stuff happens. Okay, so it opens with the same card as the previous ones. U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Tape 5, The New Mob of New Bordeaux, August 25th, 1971. And of course, with narration from John Donovan, quote unquote, by the time Lincoln finally faced off with Sal Marcano, he had effectively undermined Sal's whole network. New Bordeaux belonged to Lincoln. As soon as he broke Marcano's hold on a district, he transferred power to one of his underbosses. By now you know who his underbosses are. Burke, head of the Irish, Vito, head of the rebel Italians, and of course Cassandra, leader of the Haitians. And we're going to start with her because ladies first. Cassandra, she provides guns, and more guns. So she's the go-to underboss when it comes to your guns. And she's Lincoln's main arms dealer. And of course, she's also for wiretapping because she has some connections with phone operators. So there's two good reasons to be friendly to Cassandra, to give her rackets and districts. A, if you like guns, and B, you want to do some wiretapping and get an edge over your enemies in New Bordeaux, Cassandra might be useful to you. So definitely, by having the wiretapping option through telephone operators, you're able to cut communication throughout neighborhoods, and that cuts down on the response time of reinforcements as well as the police. By the way, just want to say this before we continue. They really do make the case, Hangar 13, for you to balance the game out when it comes to divvying out the districts and the rackets. Now, I know a lot of people are going in, they're going to be favoring Vito no matter what, or Burke or Cassandra no matter what, but the way it's set up might make you rethink going that route, which is why, once again, I'm most likely going to go even Steven, because it just seems to make more sense, especially when you discover exactly what each underboss provides for you during the events of Mafia 3. So definitely. By the way, this screenshot, I don't know why it's screenshotted like that. The cop car was supposed to be in the center, but, shit happens. C'est la vie. Okay, anyways, so we move on to our next underboss, Burke. Now, he provides some very important services, too. Vehicle delivery service for Lincoln's private fleet, which includes, of course, his coveted black muscle car and other vehicles as well. Any vehicle in Lincoln's fleet can be delivered by Burke. So you most definitely want to consider giving some districts and rackets over to Burke as well, because vehicles are kind of important to get around the 10 districts in New Bordeaux. So his delivery service is anytime, anywhere in the city, day or night. But then you have to consider the third underboss, Vito Scaletta, the protagonist of Mafia 2. And admittedly, most people's favorite underboss of the three, because we have history with Vito Scaletta. By the way, if you haven't had a chance yet, be sure and check out my Let's Play of Mafia 2. I finished it last week. All 15 chapters leading up to the release of Mafia 3. Coming up this Friday, And of course, this is what Donovan says about Vito. One of the most connected gangsters in the crew. So he became sort of a mob administrator. He as in Vito Scaletta. Now, what does Scaletta provide to you? Well, he offers hit squads to provide Lincoln backup in hot situations to help even the odds whenever Lincoln is outnumbered. He also has important connections with the underground doctor. Quote unquote, Vito was old school mafia. Guys like that don't take orders from some punk who's not even in the family. So yeah, Lincoln is very dependent on all three of his underbosses for various reasons. Vito, obviously, because he provides the hit squads, the underground doctor, and also the consigliere, which will come and pick up any money you happen to have in your wallet and store it in your safe in the event that you might get killed. That way you don't lose any money. So there's a lot of good reason to reward Vito, Burke, and Cassandra with an even amount of rackets and districts. Now, here's something that Vito said in the trailer. Quote unquote, we got rules. Not my fucking problem that you people don't understand. So here's a cool scene where you see Vito meeting up with Sal Marcano and Georgie Marcano. We'll talk more about that scene in just a moment. Because somebody else shows up, and I believe this is when Lincoln Clay is introduced to Vito Scaletta by Sal Marcano. Obviously, this takes place before the heist. So Lincoln's still hanging out with Georgie. They're buddies. And, of course, he has an opportunity to meet the legendary Vito Scaletta, who's going to become a future asset for him in the war against Sal Marcano. And this is what Sal Marcano says to Vito regarding Lincoln Clay. God damn, don't you want a man like that on your side? Because obviously Lincoln Clay is a big tank. He's a war vet. He's very experienced in combat. He's somebody that could get things done. And continuing with Donovan, quote unquote, one of the great things about Lincoln Clay, though, he could align even the most unlikely of allies. It worked in Vietnam, and it definitely worked in New Bordeaux. So this is probably the first encounter between his underbosses. You got Cassandra in the back. You have Burke putting a piece on Vito while he's enjoying a nice cancer stick. Obviously, there's some dislike in the room between these three. And Burke, not really a fan of Vito Scaletta. So maybe they have some history between these two gentlemen, Burke and Vito. But it's up to Lincoln Clay to get these three underbosses to work together towards a common goal. And of course, the Senate responds to Donovan regarding his ability to get people to work together. The Senate chair says this: if Mr. Clay had such grave misgivings about his associates, then why enlist their help in the first place? And then in response, Donovan says this: you're still not getting it. It was never just about killing Marcano. It was about hurting him first. Lincoln wanted to take his legacy apart, piece by piece, tear down everything he ever worked for. Lincoln wanted him to understand with all his money, all his muscle, even his hot sister-in-law, Olivia. I have a thing for older chicks, okay? Continuing, all of Sal's muscle, and of course his influence, including his own family, like Georgie, for example, his brother Lou, who ran the French ward. There was absolutely nothing that Sal could do to stop Lincoln Clay. And Kenny McGuire, FBI agent investigating Lincoln Clay, says this, quote unquote, Lincoln had a significant impact. He did what the Bureau wouldn't or couldn't do. He finished them. And of course, the final scene with Donovan talking in the background, quote unquote, then somewhere along the line, Lincoln realized something you can't seem to grasp. The best way to take down an empire, to make sure it stays down, is to build another empire right on top of it. And of course, the trailer concludes with Lincoln Clay saying, New Bordeaux belongs to me. Ain't nobody left to stand in my way. And that concludes this breakdown of Tape 5, regarding the new Mob in New Bordeaux. Once again, the trailer is linked below in the description section. And I realize that it's Wednesday, but you still have a chance to pre-order Mafia 3. But you may not be able to get the deluxe or collector's edition because, see, I went to a store that I had Mafia 3 Deluxe Edition pre-ordered at because I need to pick up some ink cartridges. And just by chance, I asked somebody, was there going to be a midnight release of Mafia 3? Because I was going to go out there Thursday night and pick it up and then start Let's Playing and get it recorded and get the first episode up early Friday morning. They informed me that there was not going to be a midnight release at this particular store. So I went across the street to another store and they were doing a midnight release. So naturally, I decided to pre-order another copy of Mafia 3 at this other store. However, they were already out of the deluxe editions and collector's editions, so I had to settle with a basic edition of Mafia 3. But the good news is I will have it in my grubby little hands at midnight as planned, which means I will be able to do the first episode of my Mafia 3 Let's Play and have it up sometime early Friday morning. But you can still pre-order Mafia 3 right now, and if you do so, you get the family kickback bonus, which includes 3 weapons as well as 3 rides. But you may not be able to get the deluxe or collector's edition. You may be screwed just like I was, but that's just the way it goes. All right, anyway, so obviously, what's coming up this Friday, everybody? That's right, Mafia 3, October 7th, 2 days away. Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC.